Good evening, everybody, and welcome to a new Cleveland Stirring the Pot or Stirring the Pot in Cleveland show here on this Monday night as we prepare for the Cavaliers Pistons game. We got about 9 minutes or so until tip off. So I thought I'd reach out to everybody and say hello. It is a Monday. Thanks again for joining us here on the Fanatical Elves Network, part of Fans First Sports Network. I'm trying my microphone again. We're going to see if this baby works. Hopefully, so far, cross your fingers, it's working. Have big news. I'm getting a new studio desk thing for my loft here. And so we're going to be bringing you even more high-tech excitement. Excited to bring that all to you. Might be getting an upgrade too on the microphone, but we'll see how this holds out. Hopefully there aren't any mic issues for the next 8 minutes as we get ready for the big game. So the Cavaliers play the Detroit Pistons tonight at home. The Cavaliers are down 2-1. The Cavaliers must win this game. We don't have LeBron James any longer, and going down 3-1, even though it is just the lowly Detroit Pistons, is going to be a struggle if they can't get this game. They got done what they needed to get done the other night, and we just have our fingers crossed as well and hope to God that they can do a good job. Donovan Mitchell had a very good game, 35 points last time around. James Harden came up big in the fourth quarter, hit a big 3-point shot late to secure that win. The Cavs won 116-109. Good things there. So we'll see how it all pans out. I know I saw the starting lineup. I know, like I've said this on many of my shows here on the Fanatical Elves Network, and I mentioned this in my Johnny Cleveland podcast earlier this week. You know, some of you are very critical of some of the moves that Kenny Atkinson is making. I know even some of you were appalled by the idea that Kenny Atkinson talked about him having a certain rotation and having to go away from that in acknowledging that in game three. And some of you seem surprised by that. Doesn't surprise me a little. I mean, a little bit surprises me, but for the most part, it really doesn't. He's a coach. Coaches like routines. Coaches like things that they can plan for. And it makes sense in my mind as a coach too, that you want to go with a group that you think is going to do the best. I know some of you have been critical of Tyson wanting to substitute him in for somebody like Dean Wade. Some of you don't like Dean Wade at all. I've talked about this endlessly. I think you guys are just dumb. So they are starting Dean Wade again, and I hope to God that Dean does a good job. I know he will, especially defensively, but some of you feel that he lacks offensive skills. I don't think Tyson is that great of a player myself offensively, and I don't think he's as good of a defender as Dean Wade. I know he's not as good of a defender as Dean. Dean's been in the league for 7 or 8 years. Now, you look at the other guys, Evan Mobley, Allen, and then you sprinkle in a couple of these other folks like Sam Merrill came in big, hit a big shot. Max Strus came in. Max Strus has been doing some dynamite stuff here for the Cavaliers. He's really bringing bringing that extra energy that the Cavaliers need. I'm hoping Jared Allen has a big game tonight. Evan Mobley, a lot of you have been critical of him because he's taking outside 3-point looks, and no, they're not all going down. But I think part of it is because of how you look at Evan Mobley. He's not the prettiest of guys when he's running up and down the court. He's a big, tall, lanky guy, and he's not a big, bustling, big dude. And so some of you think that he's soft, especially Jared Allen. A lot of you speak to that, and I totally believe that it's because of his physique. He's not a big, bulky dude again. And so some of you out there just trash these guys simply because of their physique is what I think. And so, I mean, maybe I'm completely off base. I don't believe I am. And I think that that's where a lot of the sentiment of you guys who don't like the Cavaliers or always wanting to be critical of them it sparks from. So you can prove me wrong. If the Cavaliers get blown out tonight by the Pistons at home, then it's pretty much the door is pretty much shut unless they can get LeBron to come over from the Lakers. Now, it does seem that the Lakers and the Cavs could do something. I read somewhere this afternoon that that idea of LeBron coming back to Cleveland is still very much a possibility. So we'll see. Looking forward to that. I mean, I love LeBron. If you're from Cleveland, you owe everything to LeBron. He brought a championship to this team in 2016. So we owe a lot to LeBron. So let's see what happens tonight. Fingers crossed. I'll be a nervous wreck. I'll probably watch bits and pieces of it, but it seems like I can't handle the stress. So I'm going to turn it off at some point, probably when they're losing, and hope to God that they win. So, all right, it's 7:57. Let's see. We got a few comments here. Hey, James, thanks for watching us here. Um, James says here, wonder if Miles will be back in attendance tonight. Good question, considering has he even talked to Coach Todd Monken yet? I'm sure there's been some dialogue going on there. And then he says, but I'm watching, I've seen every type of Tyson Mitchell's a dog, and I like Mobley. Me too, as well. Yeah. I mean, I think the thing with Mitchell Donovan is, again, he doesn't have the benefit of he's been every time he's been in the playoffs, he's been ousted in the second round, or he's never really made it that far. And so I think for somebody like Donovan Mitchell, this is, it gets personal again. So we'll see what happens with that. But I'm expecting another big game from Donovan. Right. I agree with you totally, 110%, James. If you're listening to us later on Apple or on Spotify, James has commented here on our live show here on YouTube, on the X and Facebook. He says if LeBron comes back from the Browns, the Browns need to bring back Nick Chubb. Absolutely, they do need to bring back Nick Chubb. I've got a portrait of Nick Chubb right over here to my right where we're having the show right now. So, anywho. Let's see here. We got the the Guardians playing tonight. They're doing a good job. I think the last I looked, they were winning big. They're playing the Los Angeles Angels. And then let's see, they're up. Last time I checked, let's look at this score here. Pull this up here and see the Guardians. They've been winning, losing. They're in first place. They're doing some pretty decent things. Yeah, the Guardians are up 7-0. 7-0. It's in the bottom of the fifth inning right now. They broke it up, and I think in the third they had 5 runs in that fifth inning. So good for them. Now, the Brownies, they had their rookie mini camp over the weekend. Now, I did see they're still working out, and I know Deshaun Watson is out there on the field, and that's been a big conversation piece still. It's interesting. Some places like Vegas are having betting odds, and right now it's strongly in favor of Deshaun Watson starting the season in week 1 for the Cleveland Browns. Now, if you listen to any of our podcasts, Steve or Rod or anything, I know Steve and I talked about this recently Friday night on our Fanatical Elves show. Check that on Thursdays or Fridays. We just don't see it in the cards. I mean, Deshaun Watson is coming off a serious medical injury again. He's had several serious injuries. Why the Browns are talking him up, I don't get it. I'm a big Shedeur fan, always will be. Is Shedeur the guy? I want to believe he can be, but I'm working on an article right now for Dog Pound Daily. Check that out, Dog Pound Daily, part of Fans Cited. There was an article recently out on Bleacher Report talking about the Browns draft after a week or two looking back at it. And there is, they got a good grade. They gave them a B. But one of the things that they talked about in this article is that the Browns, well, they got better with some of their offensive players like Casey Concepcion and Denzel Boston and a new offensive lineman and Spencer Fanow. Have they really addressed the main culprit, the main problem with this Cleveland Browns team on offense? And we all know what it is. It's the elephant in the room. It's the quarterback play. It's the quarterback position. The Browns haven't addressed that. I mean, we have a $230 million man that we're having to pay out, and the Browns organization is trying to make this spin over the last few weeks about how, he's going to be he's going to come back and he's going to do great things. None of us believe that. Us fans, I mean, if you believe that, I I'm surprised. I don't believe it, and I'm not looking at Deshaun Watson doing anything fun and exciting for this Browns team. And I can tell you right now, if you listen to anybody around town or anybody that's a Browns fan, there are going to be very few cheers for Deshaun Watson when he takes the field in week one. If that, for whatever game, if it's a home game week one or whatever it is, there will not be many cheers. The first time he throws an interception or an incomplete pass, the boo birds from week one are going to start. Now, some of you who aren't Browns fans, you don't get it and you want to criticize Browns fans for being too critical about Browns fans, for being mean to Deshaun Watson. But Deshaun Watson has played jack squat. He's been injured. It's just a soapbox. We need to move on. We need to move on. We're building a brand new stadium in 2029. We need to have things in play. Now, the other thing about this article that was written in Bleacher Report that I'm talking about is that Todd Monken has come in to be the head coach. Now, some of you are enamored with him and you like the fact that he says the word shit when he coaches or when he talks to the local media. That's great. Boy, he's a football guy. He's a football guy. He says he cusses. Not that Stefanski didn't cuss, but we didn't emphasize it because we didn't hear him. But a lot of the lingo that these guys talk, these coaches, it's similar. Kevin Stefanski's not that far different from a Todd Monken. Yes, an approach and some of the different things, but they say some of the same things. If you really want to pay attention and listen to what they say to the players, it's very similar. I know some people were talking about that a week ago or this past weekend when they would have Monken mic'd up and they're like, oh man, this is so much better. This is so refreshing than compared to somebody like Kevin Stefanski. And it's like, you guys are just crazy. It's not true. Yeah, it's nice to have a new person in play. And listen, when you have something new, like a new coach, gives you more hope. You hope that things turn around. I know that's for anything that we do. So Todd Monken is old. He's 60 years. I mean, he's not old, but he's 60, 61 years old. He's never had a head coaching job outside of being in college football. And that was, I think, Southern Miss. So there's these expectations. I don't know how high they should be. He sounds like a great head coach and he's talking the part right now, but the games haven't been played. There's 120 days until games actually get started. Hey, let's talk about those games here on the other side of this break. We'll be right back. This is Stirring the Pot in Cleveland. Hey, thanks for coming back to us here on Stirring the Pot in Cleveland. I'm trying to find the game here I don't think the game has started, but let me go back here. I'm looking up for the Cavs game and I think we're good. But I don't want to miss out on anything. So, all right. So, on the other side of, or before we went off for the break, the schedule for the NFL is coming out on Thursday. Steve and I will be back for the Fanatical Elves show Thursday night at 7:30. I think they're releasing the schedule right around that same time. So, look forward to talking to everybody about that when it comes out. But we'll see how it pans out. The Brownies, some people were speculating that there's some possibility they could open the season playing on the road in Tampa Bay. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not, but that would be interesting if the Browns opened up their season against Baker Mayfield. Wouldn't that be interesting? What if it were Baker Mayfield against Deshaun Watson? Ooh, yeah. That might be the game. Let's see here, James. Thanks again for James. You talking a little bit about a couple things here. You mentioned KC threw the opening pinch out. Oh, he did. I did not know that. That's great. So that's why they're up 7-0, James. KC Concepcion gave them good luck, and I guess KC Concepcion threw out the first pitch for the Guardians game. Talked about at this point, let him ride the bench and pay him and let Shedeur be the leader. Absolutely, James. I 110% agree. I couldn't agree with you more. And James also is talking about we've watched Watson on tape. He'll come out and play like crap for 4 weeks, and our defense will maybe win a few games. Then we will play a crappy team, and he'll have an all right game. then the game after that he'll get hurt, right? Well, and that is really the issue here with Deshaun is he's had all these injuries and everybody's like, okay, great, he'll start week 1, but no, he's not. Like he's not capable of that. And even if he were, like you're saying, James, he's going to get hurt again. I mean, we talk about Nick Chubb. Why don't the Browns take another risk on Nick? I mean, Nick has ruined his knees. I mean, we could do it as a courtesy out of loyalty. I'd love it. But some of these players, and they get all these multiple injuries, and it's a serious, serious issue. By the way, the Cavs and the Pistons are getting ready to get started here. They're having introductions. It's 8:07. I know I've carried on already 16 minutes. James, thanks again. He's also getting back to the Brownies, the Falcons. Why not open the season against the Falcons? Right? Is that game in Cleveland? I think that game's scheduled to be in Cleveland. That would be fantastic. That would be must see TV. That would get fans. That would get fans engaged until Watson throws his first interception if he starts in week 1. Honestly, I think Shedeur Sanders is going to have one hell of a summer. I think that he's going to prove all the doubters wrong. I think that he's going to start week 1 and we're going to move forward. If we're wrong, we're wrong. We'll just carry on. We have a few more seasons to get it right. This is, again, I remember talking to Lou. Oh, that's true, James. Everybody, if the game is in Cleveland, absolutely. People are going to boo Kevin. Isn't that crazy, right? I mean, we were booing him a lot before he left. So, but I know Lou Marconi, my old colleague here with the show, we were talking about, the stadium and getting geared up and how, the comparisons to when the Cleveland Guardians or when the Indians transitioned from old Municipal Stadium back in 94 to the new ballpark and how that affected that organization, and they rose to the occasion. And to be quite honest, for the last 30 years, the Indians and Guardians have been great baseball. I mean, you want to see the Indians play. You want to see the Guardians play now. And hopefully when the Browns get into this new beautiful dome stadium, that will be the case. I think the Browns are building a great, great nucleus of players. I think I saw something on a social media post in reference to the Browns offense and how young all these players are. They're like 20 years old, 21 years old, 23 years old, 22 years old. I mean, we are building a crop of great talent that over the next 3 or 4 years are going to be coming right into their prime. We talk about Myles Garrett. Dude, he's in his prime. He's not going to be there forever. No, he's not LeBron James. He can't go for 20 years, but we'll see. But he'll be on his way out. It would be nice to see Myles stick around and maybe get to that point where they open up the Dome Stadium. He's still here. Speaking of a player that is gone now, and I wrote about him a few weeks ago, is David Njoku, the Chief. The Chief is gone. And some of you know that I'm not the biggest fan. I know a lot of you out there are bigger fans than I of David Njoku. The reason I say this, the reason I have this opinion of David Njoku is because I work and write with a few colleagues who have known David Njoku when he started with the Cleveland Browns organization. And their opinion of him, when they've shared that with me, was one that was rather negative. A lot of it revolved around his immaturity and how he handled talking to the media, especially privately. And to be quite frank, David Njoku is just a real jackass. And that's what everybody told me when I would talk to them about David Njoku. So everybody suggests now that he's turned that around and he's acting the part, and he certainly seemed like he wanted to stay in Cleveland up to the end of the season, but now he's parted for the San Diego or Los Angeles Chargers. So he signed an $8 million deal. The Browns were not going to bring him back on an $8 million deal to play here in Cleveland. And so he has parted ways. So good luck to David Njoku as he has a new team after playing, 8 years in Cleveland. He started in 2017. So it's been a minute. He started back then with Myles Garrett. And so it'll be interesting to see how he does. I mean, I think he'll have some flashes. there's some highlights there, but the Chargers are kind of like a lot of other teams. They'll show some really good things, but then they won't get beyond just that. So, what other comment do we have here? You are, yes, James, you liked him. Yeah, James is saying how he liked David Njoku. And listen, I think he did a lot of good things. One of the things that I took note of when I wrote about him, and if you want to go back and look at his stats, he was inconsistent. He had some injuries. There was the 1 year that Kevin Stefanski came in, and he basically was in Stefanski's doghouse. But he had a 2 or 3 year stretch that was really pretty consistent. But beyond that, it was really up and down. And last year, I think he only had 20 or 30 some catches for 200 to 300 yards. I know he's out with some injury, so we'll see. But now the Cavs are playing the Pistons, so I'm going to part ways with everybody here as we go for the jump here. The Cavs got the tip, and now they're going down the court from right to left. So I'll let you guys watch that game. Hopefully, you guys all enjoy your rest of your evening, and the Cavaliers come home with a victory. Where we got here? We got a turnover by the Cavaliers. What do you know? A turnover. That's one thing that has been the bugaboo for the Cavs. Cavs get the rebound. They're coming back down. But I'll let everybody get back. Watch the game live. Everybody, thanks again. James, thanks for watching our show tonight. Thanks to all of you who watch our show tonight. Tune in to all of our shows here on YouTube, Facebook, the X. Listen to us. That's where we make the money. Please listen to us on Apple, on Spotify, iHeartRadio, anywhere you listen to your podcasting. We are there. Type in Cleveland Browns podcast or type in Fanatical Elves Network, and you will not miss a show. We would really appreciate it. Also, buy some coffee. It's on our X page at the top. It's called Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. They shake the hand of the farmer. Check out the link there. Buy some coffee. You'd be helping our podcasting platform out as well. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, James, for tuning in. Until next time, go Browns.